of 3 to 6 feet. It's a southerly swell and expect strong rip currents and some tough swimming. Lifeguards are going to be busy along with marine safety. On this Sunday, some early morning clouds, but overall sunny skies again, and it's another warm day. 78 should do it at the beach. About 80, 81 on the hilltop in the canyon, 78 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy skies will drop it back to about 66. Beautiful evening, especially as that sun starts to go down. Monday and Tuesday, some early clouds, then sunny. Let's keep it warm. Temperatures 79, 80 degrees, slightly cooler weather coming in by the end of next week. That's my forecast. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray. Tune in, turn on to KXFM 1047, Laguna's Community Radio.
If you're a big fan of contemporary jazz music, or you just want to hear the music that's influenced some of today's best artists, tune in to Feeling Jazz with your host, Mark Schwartz, Mondays from 5 to 6 p.m. I'll be playing your favorite hits, deep cuts, and a little history with songs from the likes of Steely Dan, George Benson, Al Jarreau, Mindy Abair, and so much more. Tune in and turn on Feeling Jazz with Mark Schwartz, Mondays from 5 to 6 p.m. on Laguna's Community Radio.
This disclaimer is a statement notifying listening audiences that any opinions expressed on our shows are not representative of Laguna Radio, Inc., its management, or its board of directors.
Dreams that you dream of once in a love of mine. Your time over me, over flying. Dream that you dream of, dream true. Someday when she falls down, the clouds will be behind. No time over me, over flying.
Good morning. Oh, yes. Good morning. It's Craig here on Rainbow Radio at a lovely, beautiful day here in Laguna Beach on the last day of the month of August. And tomorrow it's September. Beautiful weather today. It should be, as Dave said. So, but there is some surf warning, and it's on this Sunday, the last Sunday of August, the last day of the month, the last Sunday, and what else? And tomorrow is Labor Day. Yep, it happens once a year, and I, as being a historian myself and thinking history is very important, I do have some information about Labor Day. Tidbits you might not know. So, and now you know the rest of the story. With Rainbow Radio, as we like to keep everyone informed, highly informed. We do our best. America's Labor Day. It's a 3-day weekend of barbecues, beach days, and back to school sales. Yes, especially the back to school sales. But before we before it was official, the official end of summer, when you put away your white shoes and retired them for another season, it was the official recognition of sweat, toil, and solidarity. So how did it start? In the year 1882 in New York City, of course. Not a parade for Thanksgiving, not a procession for Christmas, but a march for workers. 10,000 men and women paraded through the streets, demanding fair pay and reasonable hours. So this is I would say Labor Day is the citizens' parade or Citizens Day. That's what it should be. Why don't we honor the citizens? Citizens Day. Okay. They carried signs and banners, and here's a quirky part: they paid their own picnic for their own picnic afterwards. No one paid for it. Imagine going on strike and then footing the bill for your own celebration. It was a statement, and we labor, we produce, and we deserve a holiday of our own. And I totally agree. If it weren't for the people that work, the nation wouldn't work. That's just the way it is. Now we come up with an idea. History has two contenders. Who came up with it? Peter J. McGuire, co-founder of the American Federation of Labor, and Matthew McGuire, a machinist and union leader. One McGuire dreamed it, the other McGuire organized it. So this is back in 1882. Historians will squabble like two kids fighting over who really invented peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But that's the history, the McGuires. Yeah. One's McGuire, M-A, and one's McGuire. So they're not siblings, but just so you know, they're the ones who did it. But here's the twist. It wasn't President Grover Cleveland's idea. In fact, Cleveland was no great friend to unions. Just weeks after he sent federal troops to crush the Pullman strike in Chicago, which Pullman's is for trains, and they're people that are on the trains. Well, it's another story. Where blood was spilled on the streets, he suddenly signed Labor Day into law in 1894. Why? Because he needed to mend fences with angry workers. Okay, see, stand up and get heard. We might say Labor Day was born out of political damage control. Seems like so many things are born out of that these days. But there I go again with my opinion. But they said I could have an opinion. And while May 1st, May Day, became the global workers' holiday, the U.S. chose September. Why? Not because it was more American, but because Cleveland feared May Day was too radical. Oh, yes, May Day. To be tied to socialism and anarchists. So he quietly tucked our Labor Day into the calendar between Independence Day and Thanksgiving. So there you go. And that's the old rule, but no white after Labor Day, folks. You got to retire them. And it wasn't a union rule. It wasn't high society's way of drawing a line or a snobby fashion code invented by the wealthy to separate themselves from the working class. Labor Day doesn't just end summer. It sets a dress code. Yeah, right. So this weekend, when you hear the sizzle of burgers and watch the parade go by, if there is one, remember the workers who built the roads that you drive on, who poured the streets for the bridges, and who hammered the steel for the bridges you cross, who harvested the food on your plate. Labor Day was their idea, their fight, their holiday. Okay. Because a nation that works deserves a day to rest. And now you know the rest of the story here on Labor Day. So, yeah, it's not just about hamburgers and sales at on Amazon or at Costco or wherever you go. Home Depot. No, I don't do Home Depot. Lowe's, maybe. Anyway, those that's the rest of the story for Labor Day. Yep. So what do we have? I don't want to jump into so many news right away. I do need to say that the only thing as far as what's coming up in LGBTQ here in Laguna Beach, the next thing we have on the calendar is our Christmas party, which I think is December 13th on a Sunday. we're planning a picnic, but I think we can't pull it off. And we've tried, and don't think we haven't tried for you. So that's the only real Laguna Beach Pride thing on the schedule at this point. I always like to bring up what's going on. Oh, the Taste of Laguna, I believe, is pretty much sold out. Just so you know, but you can still check it out with it online. Just do a little search. Okay. So I'm going to do some mellow, chill music because this week has been, every week I think, no, we can't top that one. That's crazy. And it just continues. So I have a throwback, a song called Someday by Danny O'Keefe. Someday this will all be behind us. I hope so. What's going on? And I do feel that there is a major concern going on here with a threat to democracy. And we'll touch on that a little bit later. But here we go. Someday.
Love songs on the radio, pictures on the screen. What does all this really mean to you? I like on an avenue, players on the scene. Look so lost they don't know that it's true. Hear it on the radio, see it on the screen. What does all this really mean to me? And I'm always changing, but the picture stays the same. People are always longing to be free. I've heard this one before. Love will always be the great mistake. It is what I'm waiting for. When your heart is overflowing, can give the rest away.
That was Danny O'Keefe, and someday soon, love is going to change the way of the world. Those are the words to that song. It's a beautiful song, and I do hope that love is love, and that that does change the world. Because right now it seems to be in short supply. Okay, you know, a wink, a nod, and a smile to someone you don't know might brighten their day beyond, I don't know, forever and ever. I'm sure everyone in their lives has a moment when someone did something kind, and you'll never forget how wonderful it was, and how unexpected it was. And that's the moment that we all can share. So, love can change the way of the world. That is Someday by Danny O'Keefe. I do have another, Behind the Waterfall by Paul Spear, and I'm going to play that. That's another kind of mellow song, perhaps with a message. That was Paul Spear, Behind the Waterfall. Very mellow, calming song, which perhaps is a good thing. It's currently 71 degrees here in Laguna Beach, and we're very happy that it will, the high should be around 78 as the weather. So it is a beach day. I can't see Catalina Island, and I haven't seen it for the last couple of weeks. I don't know. Maybe they towed it away permanently. I don't know. But anyway, if you haven't been to Catalina Island in the last, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, it's it's really overdue. And there is a great, great, great video about all the latest and greatest things that are going on. An independent writer. It's not a marketing ploy. It's not a sales program or any of that. But you can find it on YouTube and just go Catalina Island and look for the most recent posting under Catalina Island, and you'll find it there. But it's very interesting to watch because I learned a lot of things about Catalina Island I didn't know about the wealthy people that have owned it and most of it, and how it's kind of evolved over the years and has come of its own age and in its own culture. So it is well worth watching, I have to say. So if you get a chance, do that for to be educated about it. So I it seems to me over the last, and I have to say, what do they say about what the Dems normally do is they wring their hands, they have focus groups, and they write white papers and say this is the way it should be, but they don't do more than that too often. You can't cast everyone under the same light, that's for sure. And there are many great Democrats, and then there's many not so great, and same, I think, on the Republican side. So having said that, I do think that there has been a lot of dissing about California, and I'm kind of tired of it. I'm not going to sit back and have a focus group and wonder why and write a white paper. I'm going to talk about it, okay? So, because I think California, I love California. I'm a native. I've been probably to all 50 states with extended stays in 50 states because I work for a hotel company. So they would send me to one of their new hotels in a community, and I would be there for a couple months during the opening and transitioning into the community. And I met many people in many states, engaged with the city people, the chambers of commerce, staff and employees. And so I would get a 2-month snippet of everything from Houston, Lubbock, Texas. I went to South Carolina, Missouri, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, what other states? Nevada, Washington State, Oregon State, all those. I've been to them for months at a time, and I did that for 11 years. So I think I have a pretty good understanding of the states and the attitudes and the people in the states, and they are very different. You know, it's like in Europe, you're going to a different country. In the United States, you also go into a different country. So going from state to state, that's the way it feels sometimes, the culture and everything. So, but there is, I feel that there's been a lot of dissing about California. And I'm over it. I'm fed up with it. California does a lot of things right and leads the way in a lot of things. The reality of it, it's the 4th largest economy in the world. The 4th largest economy in the world. So it's I don't know. It's it must be doing something right. You know, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of homelessness, but per capita, you know, let's talk in percentages, and that's something I learned about percentages. You got to understand per capita and percentages to really get the true flavor of what's going on. Just and if you don't, you can unfairly make a statement that's unfairly and incorrect. You can make a statement with percentages, but where was I going with percentages? Anyway, it's important to represent things accurately and within context, I think, and that's a challenge often. Also, I did notice, this is kind of out of left field, but I did notice someone said they put up a map and it showed Canada, included Alaska, the United States, Mexico, Central America, South America, and the whole continent, and they said, "This is America." And that's true. If you look at Africa under the same light, Africa, there's no country called Africa. In case you didn't know, some people don't know that, but there's no country called Africa. It's very many countries within the continent of Africa. Well, there are many countries within the continent of America, and it's really unfair to say you live in America, because you could live anywhere from the tip of Southern America to anywhere up in Northern Canada and be in America. Our country is the United States. And so too often we refer to it, and to me, it almost sounds egotistical. No, we are the United States of America. Or then there's, I guess you could say, Mexico of America or Canada of America. But we are the United States of America. And you really fairly, we should say, I live in the United States, and you may want to add of America, but or USA. That's an easy one. I live in the USA. So that's my my waxing on about thing. Anyway, California, here I come. Yeah. So California leads the nation in many ways, the world, in environmental protection, equality, in business and employment and housing protections, compared with other U.S. states and international peers. Now, that's a given known, but oh no, it's the land of the fruits and the flakes, and everyone has fruits and flakes, folks. Get used to it. It's everywhere. What can I say? I entertain myself so well. I have to, and thank you for tuning in, everyone. I want to say that I do have some very loyal followers, and I appreciate that. It makes it worth it. It's what I do. That's why I do it, for sake, for that religious person's sake. Anyway, renewal. Let's talk about environmental leadership in California. In 100% clean mandate, that's what California did. And a lot of people, it was a crazy tree hugging. Who hugs the trees? I forget. that was an organization. California's new law is 100% clean electricity by the year 2045. That's it ought to be by the year 2030, if you ask me. But anyway, one of the most ambitious timelines in the U.S. comparable only to the EU's 2050 net zero. So we're saying net zero by 2045, and it's leading the way in protecting the environment. Cap and trade programs. California runs the most comprehensive carbon market in the U.S., linked with Quebec's system, of course, and stricter than most countries outside the EU. That's what we do. What else do we do for environmental? Vehicle emissions standards. And this is a big one because everyone loves it. Oh, you can't do anything in California. Anything that you do that you're not going to please everyone, and you're not going to may not get it 100% right the first time either, but you got to try. What did I see last night? It says, I will always try, and I will always try, and I will never fail to try. How's that? I will always try, and I will never fail to try. Oh, well. Anyway, vehicle emission standards. The state pioneered tailpipe emission standards in the 1960s. Even today, California sets higher auto emission standards than federal law adopted by 17 other states, representing 40% of the U.S. auto market. So California led the way, and all the other states kind of went along with it. 17 other states. Now, I can't say all, but they all went along with it. So that's 40% of the auto market goes by the vehicle emission standards. And if you weren't around in the 60s, and I went to Disneyland, as every good boy should do. And I remember because I was from the extreme Northern California, Wairika. Look it up. Well, I got into Disneyland and into LA, and there was this heavy smog. I don't know if people remember how it was like a gloomy, cloudy day because the smog was so thick. That's the truth. It wasn't just because there was clouds. It was smog that made you feel like it was a gloomy, cloudy day. And I remember I had my 68 El Camino. And so maybe I did go there in 70 or 71. I remember. But I had my 68 El Camino. It was bright yellow, bright sunflower Corvette yellow was the name of the color. And it's this beautiful scene. We parked in the Disney parking lot. It's huge. And we spent the day there. And when I came back, there was this film, this slimy, oily, dirty, filthy film all over my car. And I'm going, what happened? And I realized just how poor the smog was, just how unacceptable it was. And at that time, I guess the fossil fuel the restrictions were lax, and fossil fuels was the currency of the day, and still pretty much is. But anyway, I remember thinking that was horrible. Well, California said that in the 1960s that they've started their emission standards, and to this day we do have really clean air in LA and in Southern California. Not perfect, but oh my gosh, if anyone was around back then, you just world of difference. Okay, what else did California done? Environmental protections. Let's go there. So environmental leadership to environmental protections, air and water quality. Now, those are pretty basic things, and it's kind of like universal health care. I think everyone's entitled to have clean air, and no one should destroy the air for their own purposes. It's a community asset, okay? Don't kill the asset with pollution. Same for water. It's a community asset. Everyone needs water. I think 90% of our bodies are water, and 90% of the earth is covered. Well, not a lot of the earth is covered by water. I don't know the exact percentage. I haven't studied up on that. But so environmental protections, air and water quality. California Air Resources Board, CARB, is the most powerful state-level environmental regulator in the world. Get that, folks. Its policies influence automakers globally. Plastic and waste reduction. California was the first state to ban single-use plastic bags in 2014 and now mandates microplastic reduction strategies, putting it ahead of most U.S. and even many EU directives. Another thing under environmental protections, wildfire prevention and resilience. With billions allocated to forest management, prescribed burns, and micro-ridge resilience, California's wildfire programs exceed most states and rival global wildfire-prone nations like Australia. Okay, that's another star for California. But hey, there's more. But wait, there's more. Anti-discrimination laws in California. Everyone should be treated fairly. Everyone should be treated equally. These are all the wonderful things that California is doing. And again, did I say I love California? Fair Employment and Housing Act. They called it FEMA, F-E-M-A, not to be confused with the other FEMA, offers protections against workplace and housing discrimination that go further than federal law, including protections for sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. Another anti-discrimination law, pay, transparency, and equality. California mandates that employers disclose salary ranges on job postings, similar to the EU directives. Okay. It was the first state to require board of directors of publicly held companies to include women and underrepresented groups. What else has California done? Worker protections. Minimum wage leadership. California set the highest minimum wages in the U.S., $16 an hour in 2024, moving higher in many cities, close to or above the European wage standards. Gig economy rights. California AB5 law attempted to classify gig workers, which is Uber and Lyft, as employees, sparking a global debate that mirrored EU and the UK labor law reforms. Moving along to housing and quality living, it's all kind of threaded together a little bit, but we got to touch on all the spots for California. Tenant rights. California has some of the strongest tenant protection laws, including statewide rent caps and just cause eviction protections, a 2019 law, which surpassed many states where renters have minimal protections. There's a lot of current controversy on that one, but I do think, I've had some bad experience with landlords, and perhaps we all have on some level, and you're kind of stuck, but California wants to level the fields, and that's good. Affordable housing mandates. Cities must zone and plan for affordable housing under state mandate regulation. Housing needs assessment. A level of enforcement is rare in the U.S. So if they're building a high-rise, high-income, expensive, residential tower, they need to provide a certain number of non-expensive housing, and that's an attempt to those without to resolve the issue of those who are without homes. Make it easier for people to have a home, which that's another whole subject. Anyway, what else has California done? Homelessness initiatives, billions in state spending for programs like Protect Home Key, turning hotels and motels into permanent housing, have become national models. So they've had some success with that. Working on it, nothing's perfect, but LGBTQ equality in housing and employment. California law explicitly protects LGBTQ individuals in housing, employment, and education and public accommodation, compared with many U.S. states where LGBTQ protections are absent or under attack. California ranks alongside Canada, and much of Western Europe. It's not special. It's kind of the norm everywhere, but in many states, not in many states in the U.S. California versus other states and countries. What can we say that is powerful about California? And compared with two U.S. states, California consistently ranks number one or near the top in renewable energy, vehicle emissions standards, worker protections, LGBTQ plus rights, and tenant protections. States like Texas or Florida often move in the opposite direction, cutting regulations. They don't like those regulations. Compared to international standards like the European Union, it has the EU has more comprehensive climate legislation overall, but California's strict vehicle and plastic laws are often implemented years earlier. Asia, compared to Asia, Japan and South Korea are leaders in technology, but slower on labor equality and LGBTQ protections. California far outpaces them on housing rights and anti-discrimination. Compared to the Nordic countries like Sweden and Denmark lead in social safety nets and gender equality, but California climate policies, especially CARB's emission standards, set global benchmarks for industry. In short, California stands out globally as a laboratory for progressive policies, testing laws, which we test them. We're not saying we're going to get them all right, but it's a whole new day. Every day, it's a whole new day. Testing laws on climate, equality, and housing that later spread across the U.S. and sometimes internationally. While challenges remain high with housing costs, wildfire risk, its role as a trendsetter is unmatched in scope and influence. So there you have. I'm not going to bash California. I'm going to say we're not perfect, but we sure are trying to get there. Okay, and in a lot of instances we're ahead of the pack. We're leading the way and doing a few things. A few things right. You know, sometimes it's hard to get everything right. With that, I'll play this next song.
I want to tell you about the Cliff Restaurant here in Laguna Beach. The Cliff has an amazing menu. You will find something that you'll fall in love with, whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. This I guarantee you. But as fantastic as the dining experience will be, that's only the start. You'll be eating this extra yummy meal while enjoying the best view of the Laguna coastline imaginable. From the patio, you have a full 180-degree view of downtown Laguna and beyond. After dinner, gather around the fire pits to hear some of the best local talent to be heard in Laguna Beach. The menus, entertainment schedules, and more can be found at their website, thecliffrestaurant.com. 7 days a week, the Cliff Restaurant at 577 South Coast Highway. You'll be happy you went.
They got my vote, and they have valet parking, which is nice. It is if someone's visiting you and you are a Lagunaite or nearby Laguna, and you want to share an experience where you can see the ocean and have lunch and cast your fate to the wind, the Cliff Restaurant's got my vote. Go for it. It's easy. It's easy peasy. It's a no-brainer. And we appreciate their support of KXFM radio, as always. So, what else is going on in this crazy world? On this day in history, Rainbow Radio. Yes, let's do on this day in history. So you know the rest of the story. That's so important. I think that's my mantra. We hear all these stories. Let's hear the rest of the story, because unless you hear the whole story, it's not the real story. That's my think about that. Okay, what do we have? Radical Fairies Gathering. This is today. Happened today in 1979. Out in the Arizona desert, something magical began. A group of gay men rejecting stereotypes and city streets gathered to create a new way of being. Spiritual, whimsical, and political. They called themselves the Radical Fairies. In Arizona, from that weekend in Benson, Arizona, grew a worldwide movement blending queer identity with nature, spirit, and joy. Now you know the rest of the story. Moving along to September 1st, which would be mañana, Vermont, marriage equality. This was in 2009. In Vermont, where maple trees paint autumn in fire, that's how romantic is that? Lawmakers made history, not by court order, not by referendum, but by a simple vote. On this day, Vermont became the first state in the Americas where elected representatives chose love over fear, passing marriage equality into law. So did you know that? Vermont was the first state to pass marriage equality into law in 2009. Well, that would be 16 years ago. Oh, my goodness. And moving on to September 2, it was Evelyn Hooker's birthday. What you say, Evelyn? Yes, born today in Nebraska, a quiet woman would rattle psychiatry itself. Dr. Evelyn Hooker dared to ask were gay men really sick? I mean, after all, in the early 19th or early 20th century, it was an illness, it was against the law, and it was immoral. So any number of horrible things could happen. Her studies proved that there were as healthy and whole as anyone else. I love you, Evelyn Hooker. In 1973, her work helped strike homosexuality from the list of mental illnesses. Oh my goodness. One birthday, countless lives changed. So we love you, Evelyn. We should have an Evelyn Hooker Day. Yeah, a Hooker Day. And now you know the rest of the story. Moving along to September 3, on this day in history, while Stonewall echoes were still ringing, America's leading sociologists spoke up. On this day, the American Sociological Society condemned discrimination against gay men and women, one of the earliest national professional groups to do so. Not activists, not rebels, but academics putting their name to justice. And now you know the rest of the story. Moving along to September 4th. across the Atlantic, Britain was listening. This was 1957. The Wolfenden Report. So Britain was listening. A governmental report released this day declared what seemed radical: homosexual behavior between consenting adults should not be a crime. What? Shouldn't be a crime? 10 years later, Parliament listened. It took them 10 years, so that would be 67. Paving the way for modern LGBTQ rights of the UK. It started with a report and a whisper of change. And now you know the rest of the story. Moving along to September 5th. In 1987, Amsterdam's Homo Monument. I've read about this before. I haven't seen it. It would be fun to go there and see it, actually. I'd love to go to Amsterdam. On a canal in Amsterdam, 3 pink granite triangles, formed a star. The Homo Monument, the world's first memorial to LGBTQ people persecuted for who they love, it honors lives lost in the Holocaust and beyond. Today, it's a gathering place for love, remembrance, and pride. And now you know. Moving along to September 6th, India strike in 2018. This is recent history. India, which has had a colonial, it's an old country. It has a lot of tradition. And then the British came along and conquered it and changed a lot of things. But so it's a mixture of colonialism and Indianism, I guess you could say. In the world's largest democracy, love itself was on trial. India's colonial era law, Section 377, made same-sex intimacy a crime. You couldn't hold hands, I suppose. That would be intimacy. Kiss, no. Hug, too long, more than 3 seconds. But on this day, the Supreme Court of India said simply, love is not a crime. How simple and beautiful is that? How wonderful. More than 1 billion citizens and millions newly free. So that's what they said in India. And now you know the rest of the story. That's all my history lesson for the week, folks. I have the next song is a tribute to California and what they're doing with regard to environment and improving the world and the climate. And it's a Joni Mitchell song, which I'm sure everyone is familiar with.
A paradise, put up a parking lot with a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? It's a paradise, put up a parking lot. They took all the trees, put them in a tree museum. And they charged the people $1.50 just to see them. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paid paradise, put up a parking lot. Big farmer, with a DDT now. Give me spots on my apples, or leave me the birds and the bees. Please don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Late last night, I heard the screen door slam. And a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. You don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
Yes, that's no laughing matter. From Joni Mitchell and Big Yellow Taxi, take paradise and put up that lovely parking lot. You would think that cars rule the world. I remember many years ago there was a cartoon about aliens coming to observing the world, from outer space, and they saw these little things moving around from many thousands of miles away, and they see that the automobile, obviously, but they saw them moving around and thought, well, that's the beings. Those are the living beings, because from a distance, who would think otherwise? And they have homes. They go put themselves in these homes. They have places where they can get cleaned. And if you look at the culture, we are a car culture, just unbelievably so, and and a marketing culture. So we all have big marketing overkill vehicles that, ridiculously expensive. And I could go on. Anyway, that's a big yellow taxi. It's getting close to the top of the hour. So I have a song that I would characterize as highbrow culture. I just want to play it. It's a pull from left field, but every once in a while, it's good to stir things up. Mhm. So here we go. Nothing like a good Sunday morning aria to set things off. As we say,
KXRN LP, Laguna Niguel, Laguna Beach. KXFM on 104.7. KXFMradio.org.
Hey there, what's up, Laguna? Janice Murray here with news. On August 27th, the City Council approved almost $640,000 for final design agreements for the permanent promenade on Forest Avenue. They include landscape architecture services, civil engineering services, and other funds for unforeseen design needs. These allotments follow the recent decision by the California Coastal Commission upholding the city's authority to move forward. The final design is expected by this December, with construction to start in 2026 and last roughly 6 months. No word yet on what construction may cost. The statement from the city only says the almost $640,000 is for final design agreements. And I'm Janice Murray for the news on 1047 KXFM. And now, how's the weather, Dave?
Janice, our holiday weekend continues, and we do continue to have beach hazard concerns until Monday night. So right through the holiday weekend, elevated surf of 3 to 6 feet. It's a southerly swell, and expect strong rip currents and some tough swimming. Lifeguards are going to be busy along with marine safety. On this Sunday, some early morning clouds, but overall sunny skies again, and it's another warm day. 78 should do it at the beach. About 80, 81 on the hilltop in the canyon, 78 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy skies will drop it back to about 66. Beautiful evening, especially as that sun starts to go down. Monday and Tuesday, some early clouds, then sunny. Let's keep it warm. Temperatures 79, 80 degrees, slightly cooler weather coming in by the end of next week. That's my forecast. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray. Tune in, turn on to KXFM 1047, Laguna's Community Radio.
Hey guys, it's Ben, the host of Modern Classics here on KXFM. Tune in every Saturday afternoon from 1 to 3 p.m. for 2 hours of the latest and greatest in independent music, as well as classic cuts from the 80s, the 90s, and everything in between. So what are you waiting for? Tune on in every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. right here on KXFM, Human Crafted Radio.
This disclaimer is a statement notifying listening audiences that any opinions expressed on our shows are not representative of Laguna Radio Inc., its management, or its board of directors.
And there you have it. Not necessarily represent, but I have an opinion here. Listen, this last week, well, this is a deal. This is a deal that it's. I keep following politics, and I can't help it. I want a good outcome, and so what has happened in this administration? There's a lot of executive orders, and I'm not saying that the power of the executive branch should be able to issue executive orders, and often they are very positive ones and help people in situations that need attention. But it seems this administration has a plethora of executive orders, and some of them can be very questionable. Any executive order should comport with the law. So here's an example, and I think the moral fabric of the country too, but that's a very subjective thing. But anyway, here's an executive order. Cashless bail. What is cashless bail? There was an executive order issued with regard to cashless bail. You get in trouble, you go to jail, and you want to make bail so you can get out. It means judges use risk, not a price tag, to decide partial release, conditions for low-risk folks, detention for the truly dangerous. It's not automatic release, it's risk-based. So, in other words, to be fair, if you've got money, you can get out. If you don't have money, you're stuck. And but it should be based on risk, not whether you have money, is the idealistic approach to it. So there are some states that have gone along with cashless bail because they feel it's more fair. If you because it doesn't discriminate. In Washington, D.C., where it's the norm in cashless bail, Washington, D.C., non-financial releases have been standard for decades. Over 90% of the releases are without paying, or for the most part do not reoffend their pre-trial appearance. So it seems to be working. In New Jersey, statewide since 2017, a risk-based system made money bail rare. I'm sure there's a lot of bail bondsmen that would like to take issue with that. Because in Illinois, it abolished cash bail on September 18th of 23 under Pretrial Fairness Act, as they called it, Illinois, which is Pritzker, which I think he's a great governor. In New York and New Mexico and California, significantly limited money bail and require ability to pay checks. So I suppose that there's a deeper dive on that. But what the Trump administration is doing right now, on August 25th, just a few days, the president signed 2 executive orders, one to end cashless bail in D.C., steering arrests to federal custody and charging whenever possible, and another instructing the Department of Justice to identify cashless bail jurisdictions and explore withholding federal funds. Just that whole thing just seems so illegal. You're going to withhold federal funds because they're not doing something you don't like. That just federal funds, if they've been earmarked for something, they should go for it. You shouldn't be threatened. Using taxpayer dollars to coerce an outcome that you would like to see. You should go to jail for that. It's just not right. Anyway, the White House frames it as a public safety push. Oh, public safety. Reporters note that this could also extend pressure to states and cities. What happens next? Sweeping threats to yank broad, unrelated federal dollars often get tested under the Supreme Court's coercion limits on the spending clause. And now expect courts fights. So there'll be some fights over this. Yes. And so that's what executive orders can try to do. They can be good and bad. And I think this one is bad. If you've got a lot of money, you can stay out of jail. It's not based on your risk. So you've got a lot of money, get out of jail, leave the country. It should be based on risk, your flight risk. So with that, I said, let's take a more of an overall look at executive orders. So part 1, Trump's pen, executive order pen, meets the Constitution. Let's see what is happening here. I'm not saying other presidents didn't write executive orders that were bad, but it seems this at this point in time, there's some glaring ones that are important. So in 2017, here's a little preamble that someone provided for me. Ladies and gentlemen, through the years, presidents have discovered the pen is a mighty instrument, of course. But in Donald Trump's hands is also a ticket to the courthouse, it seems. Let's take sanctuary cities in 2017. With a stroke of a pen, Trump declared cities that offered sanctuary to immigrants would lose federal funds. Judges said no. Congress controls the purse, not the president, violating the spending clause in the 10th Amendment also. That order was struck down. Travel bans in 2017. The first 2 versions shut the doors on people from Muslim-majority countries. Airports froze, protests erupted. Judges waived the Constitution, citing due process and the Establishment Clause. 2 bans tossed aside. A third one rewritten, later upheld, but those first 2 gone. In 2020, the DEI training ban. Now, I've talked a lot about DEI. DEI is not special. It is about, and if you tuned in last week, you saw what happened with Target. And I also wanted to do a comparison with Budweiser, but I haven't quite got there. But last week, we talked about it at length. So DEI training ban. Trump barred contractors from diversity and bias training that mention privilege or systemic racism. The courts called it unconstitutional, violating free speech, vague as quicksand. Wow. A nationwide injunction followed. In 2010, TikTok and WeChat bans. Trump tried to block transactions with two of the world's biggest apps. Courts said that the orders overstepped his authority under IEEPA and they infringed on free speech. They were dead before they could live. Doesn't stop him from trying. Okay, moving along. Birthright citizenship ban. Trump tried to undo the 14th Amendment, stripping babies born in the U.S. soil of their citizenship. My mouth. It's got something's gone wrong there. Court cited Wong Kim Ark, a case over a century old. If you're born here, you're a citizen. Clear as ink. Blocked as unconstitutional. In 2025, the transgender military ban. Trump ordered transgender Americans out of uniform. Judges said it reeked of animus, violating due process and equal protection. Wow, that's a lot. The Supreme Court allowed it to survive for now, but the legal fight marches on. Yeah, that Supreme Court. Okay, 2025, the big law blacklist, the big law. Trump turned his pen against major law firms, yanking contracts, clearances, even building passes. Judges thundered back. Retaliation against dissent violates the First Amendment. One judge called it Orwellian. The courts blocked it. But these law firms bent their knees in spite of it. They should not have. But anyway, foreign aid freezes. Trump hated foreign aid, saying Americans could pause their generosity. Judges ruled only Congress can hold the purse. Another order stopped cold. It's 0.01% of our it's 0.1% of our national budget goes to foreign aid. I honestly can't remember if it was 1.0 or 0.1, which is a big difference. But anyway, it's pretty small. So Trump's pen, and so friends, Trump's pen often wrote in bold, but the courts replied in ink, older than any order, the Constitution. And now you know the rest of the story. Yes. But wait, there's more presidents before Trump. But we're going to have a lovely conversation about love.
I don't know what you're out there. I'm giving my love, but you don't care. So what is right? What is wrong? Give me the sky. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me. No more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me. No more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me. No more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me. No more. Well, I don't know what you're out there. I'll give you my love, but you don't care. So what is right? What is wrong? Let me decide. What is wrong? Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me no more. I, I just woke up from a dream where you and I had to say goodbye. And I don't know what it all means, but since I survived, I realized wherever you go, that's where I'll follow. Nobody's promised tomorrow. So I'm gonna love you every night like that. If the world just for a while. Be next to you. Oh, lost in the words that we sing. I don't even want to do this anymore. You already know what you mean to me, and I don't say oh, wherever you go, that's where I'm from. Nobody's promised tomorrow. Just for a while. Be next to you, right next to you, next to you, right next to you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
The world was ending, I wanna be next to you. If the party was over and our time on earth was soon,
Be next to you. I wanna be next to you.
Oh, I want to be next to Eddie.
I want to be next to you.
We are here and we're queer, I think.
Oh,
Did
I guess we should come out.
no, okay. Listen, I was before you dropped in, and I'm so glad you're here because I love it when you show up, and we have so much to cover. But I wanted to kind of finish this last thought I had because I have to keep the other side of the story. So I just went on about Trump and his executive orders and how many of them were challenged, and well, some very important ones were challenged and didn't meet the litmus test, and so litigation or they've been banned or whatever. But there are, and I said I would always give the rest of the story, right? Rest of the story. So
the rest
that other presidents did challenge executive order as they have, and it's executive branch. There's one of three equal branches of government.
Shh, don't tell anybody, Craig. It's a secret.
Take my shoe off and pound it on the counter here. So in keeping, to be fair, this is what some other presidents did. We go back to Abraham Lincoln. In 1861, he suspended habeas corpus, locking away citizens without trial. Chief Justice Taney called it unconstitutional. Lincoln pressed forward anyway, arguing survival of the Union. So it was wartime, but so that's what he felt he had to do. Anyway, it was considered unconstitutional. Franklin D. Roosevelt did it in 1942, but they only have one. I mean, it's not like someone who has a half a dozen or 2 dozen. In 1942, FDR, Executive Order 9066, corralling Japanese Americans into internment camps. The Supreme Court upheld it at the time. History later called it one of our darkest constitutional missteps. That was Franklin D. And Harry Truman did it in 52. Truman seized the steel mills to stop a strike during the Korean War. The Supreme Court in Youngstown smacked him down. The president cannot seize private industry without Congress. That case still stands as a high water mark for limiting executive power. And then our favorite president, who would that be? Richard.
Who was it? Richard Nixon? Was that what you said?
Favorite. He imposed sweeping wage and price controls through executive actions. Critics argued it overstepped economic liberties. Courts and Congress rolled back much of it back. Ronald Reagan did it through the Mexico City policy. Reagan restricted U.S. aid to groups mentioning abortion.
Wow.
I did not know that. Her lovely Reagan. Courts wrestled with whether it muzzled free speech. The policy has been rolled out and rolled back ever since, depending on who holds the pen. And then after 9/11, George W. Bush authorized warrantless wiretaps and military tribunals.
Oh, I remember that. I do remember that. That was all the buzz back in the day when he was doing all that. Yes, no.
And some of it still remains. Courts later ruled parts of those orders violated the 4th and 5th Amendments. Barack Obama. In 2014, Obama signed the DAPA, shielding millions of undocumented parents from deportation. Courts blocked it, saying it exceeded executive authority and violated separation of powers. And so you have the rest of the story, from Lincoln's wartime pen to Obama's dreamers. Every president learns the same lesson. The Constitution is not a suggestion. It is the supreme law of the land. The Oval Office may draft history in ink, but it's the courts who read it aloud and decide whether it belongs in the book. And there you have the rest of the story. So I had
The more you know by Craig Cooley.
So what's the dirt, Bona? Up in Bona?
Did you call me Bona? Bona.
That was a Freudian slip, I think. I mean Rona.
We had no. I like Bona. I'll go with Bona. Bona what? Bona Ferret.
So Bona. What's the
Bona Ferret? That's gonna be my. That's gonna be my gossip name. Not Rona Barrett because that's already been taken. Bona Ferret.
Now, folks, it's time to hear from Bona Ferret.
Oh, Craig, I wish I had something to share with you. I just logged on. I've had a weekend. I worked all day yesterday. I had 2 clients coming in with auditions. And then I had my own audition playing some demon priest, which was really crazy. But
evil ones.
Craig, I'm like Jessica Rabbit. I'm not bad. I'm just drawn this way. And apparently casting people only see me as evil. Evil.
You're the evil judge. I went over the
evil judge, crooked colonel, evil general. Now I auditioned for evil priest, which actually would be kind of fun to play. I mean, it's not exactly a stretch. Evil priest. I mean, come on.
I've heard actors say that some of the best parts they've had where they have to be evil.
But you know what? It's true. I think there is something fun and challenging about it because when you're playing evil, you have to make sure that you're not playing evil because evil people don't know they're being evil. They really believe that what they're saying is true and just. So you have to kind of have to go the opposite and find out like what. You almost have to have empathy for them and figure out like why are they. It's the whole Wicked thing. It's like why was Elphaba wicked, right? I mean,
Capote wrote about those murders. I forget who it was, but it so disturbed him to see their perspective and understand why they did what they did and why in their brain it was a rational response.
Right.
And it really bothered him to the end of his life, and how it changed him. What was it? I forget what was he wrote that was so, but it was about a group of guys that committed some horrible, heinous murders.
Mm-hmm.
Interviewed them and wrote the book about it. Someone will send me a text, I'm sure.
Someone will send something to you and let you know.
Anyway, go on. So yeah.
Anyway, but I will say, even with all the evil characters I always end up being cast in, like getting to play the mayor in Paradise, that crazy germophobic mayor with the crazy gloves. That movie it's actually going to be out. They're re-releasing it again on a whole bunch of new platforms, but that was super fun. Like I love getting to do stuff like that and getting to do comedy. And for every 5 evil people, I get to play somebody fun. Like I'm up. Here's something serious. You want to hear something very sad for me? So on Tuesday, I have a callback for a Home Depot commercial. Are you ready for the Christmas Grandpa? Which is just a step below playing a corpse. What do you think about it? Yeah, Christmas Grandpa.
Lord, oh yeah, well.
I know. You know what though, Craig?
You'll be fine.
If I get it, I don't care. I really don't care. Hopefully I'll be the handsome.
Getting older. I remember a few years ago going to McDonald's, and they offered me the senior discount with that. And I was devastated. And then I'm reading news on my phone. It said Davy Jones died of old age. And I'm going, little Davy Jones from the Monkees? Isn't he like still 20 years old? And I'm thinking,
he's like 5 years younger than you, right?
Yeah. And I'm going, oh my God. And then the big killer was I realized that the president of the United States was younger than me.
That is difficult. Yeah.
And then I'm going, at least now I know that I'm younger than the president, but still, it was a triple whammy.
I think Obama's got a year on me. I think he's a year older than me. I think he was born in 1962, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh, you're a child.
Oh, God. Thank you. Anyway, so so it's been a busy weekend. It's toasty up here. I mean, there's the city's abuzz with all the festivities of the 3-day weekend going on. I'm sure Laguna Beach is packed and a lot of fun. What's going on down there?
Well, yeah, I just saw a whole a huge gaggle of bicyclers going down PCH through Laguna Beach, which is a think that'd be a scary thing to be doing on Labor Day.
Yeah.
Down PCH through Laguna Beach, wherever they're going on the long, but there's probably 30 or 40 or 50 of them but the weather's supposed to be 78 degrees. I can kind of see the silhouette now of Catalina Island. So it's not hazy as it normally is, gets kind of hazy, but by the time you get 26 miles to Catalina,
Right.
it gets kind of hazy. So I don't have any earth-shattering news about what's going on. I know usually West Street Beach is very busy, and we have our lifeguard tower there. I wish I could tune into the cameras that were on it, but they're
Can we do that?
no. They
won't let you since that incident. They won't let you. They won't let you do that.
I'll talk about that
Is there some kind of restraining order or something in place that doesn't allow you to...
I don't want my PO to know about it. So
yeah, I never thought that was a good idea anyway. I don't know why you did it.
You were evil. See? So if you're being a Santa, Grandpa Santa?
No, it's not Santa. I'm not playing Santa. I'm playing a Christmas Grandpa. He comes downstairs. The kids are opening the presents, and he smiles and cut.
Oh, in a
home. I haven't got cast yet. It's a callback. I go in on Tuesday to try and I have to figure out some way to.
Well, you might not look wholesome enough. I don't know.
I know. They're looking at me and go, "You're evil." I don't know if you could play Christmas Grandpa. Did I ever tell you the story about the one time I did play Christmas Dad comes down in the morning? I told you the story, right? But I play Christmas Dad that comes down in the morning it was the first thing I booked after COVID, and I showed up on set and I showed up to the audition and I'm playing Christmas Dad, who comes downstairs and his daughter is for Bed Bath & Beyond. Bed Bath & Beyond? Is that right? Yeah, I think it's Bed Bath & Beyond. And the daughter is making waffles for me. And I smile and I grab coffee and I look at her and I smile and we stare out into the yard and just kind of smile. And we're it's like I'm Christmas Dad, right? So I'm super excited. It's my first gig since being locked down in 2 years. I get to set. They're everybody's in masks. They're hosing us down. They're disinfecting everything because everyone's afraid of the COVID. And I get my little pajamas on. They put me in these little cute little burger pants and a floppy t-shirt, and they mess up my hair. So I just looks like I just woke up, and I come downstairs with coffee in my hand, and I go up to my daughter and I smile. I do the whole thing. So they start playing this thing on the internets, right? It's on. People are hitting me up. Oh my God, I saw you on TV, or oh my God, I saw you on my phone, because it was mostly a social media ad thing. And here's what happened. I went into the comments. And I went into the comments on that ad, and people were saying things like, if my father looked at me like that, I would call the Child Protective Services.
Oh God.
They were saying things like that. Dad is so creepy. And all I was doing, Craig, I was channeling Christmas. It wasn't creepy, I swear. I wasn't creepy. But can you imagine? And I just I can't. So that taught me right away, just stay out of the comments. Stay out of the comments.
Really, they could be very damaging, I'm sure. Well, it did save Bed Bath & Beyond, so.
Well, yeah. I guess maybe I'm the one that sunk them.
Yeah. It was that creepy smile that did it.
Oh God, it's so anyway. So yesterday I put an audition down for a creepy priest who actually turns out to be a demon. So he's not just creepy for the sake of it. He's that's his job as a demon, to be creepy. He has to be creepy. But the audition went really well. It was really good. I was I kind of scared myself. I'm I'm going to submit this because I thought that was a scary audition.
Wow.
Well, anyway, I'm just, I just throw it out there, Craig. And if somebody wants to hire me, they hire me. If they don't,
there you go. And yeah.
And sometimes I'm on TV and sometimes I'm not, and whatever. I just have a great time. I'm having a good time.
So to follow up on last week's scandalous event with Lil Nas.
Oh, yes.
Lil Nas has entered a plea of not guilty to 4 felony charges. I don't know how that could be 4 felony, but an alleged altercation with police officers. The rapper and pop star, whose real name is Montero Hill, wavered, I guess, right, his arraignment and pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of battery with injury of a police officer. Maybe he threw a Subway sandwich, you know.
What did he do?
I don't know. On one count of resisting arrest, according to the Associated Press. Well, what else happened? Last week, an Old Town singer, on suspicion of drug overdose, early in the morning of Thursday, August 21st, police responded to reports of a man reportedly walking down a Los Angeles street naked. And
He was not naked, Craig. He was tastefully adorned in like tidy whities and white cowboy boots.
And at other times just wearing underwear in Studio City area of Los Angeles.
Craig, it was very hot that week. It was a very hot week. We have monsoon season, for crying out loud. It's 120 degrees out there.
It's a matter of self-preservation.
Yes.
TMZ later released footage of Lil Nas walking down the street wearing underwear and beautiful white cowboy boots. Singing.
They were very beautiful.
And I saw it. I mean, he was dancing. He was controlled. He was.
He was like, I mentioned it last week, and I stand by it. It looked like he was doing runway. Look, he was literally doing runway down Ventura Boulevard, or wherever he was.
And they said he was making incoherent statements. I'm going to the party. I don't know. When police arrived, they claimed Lil S Snacks charged them. A law enforcement officer said that Lil Nas punched an officer twice in the face during the encounter. According to NBC News, Lil Nas was handcuffed, thrown to the ground, and forcibly hospitalized. After spending 3 days in jail, Lil Nas was released Monday on a $75,000 bail, which is really nothing, all things considered. And the judge was requiring him to attend a Narcotics Anonymous meetings per week.
Oh, that's probably, they tend to do that.
Lil Nas lawyers spoke outside the courthouse saying the rapper has no history of criminal behavior. He's never been in trouble for a split second in his existence, and we're not going to let this little event change the trajectory of his amazing life.
And you know, his father went to visit him. I'm just kind of, on the heels of what you just said. His father went and visited him, and it was really hard because he did not like seeing his son in that situation. And he said Stafford defended his son, saying that it was unfortunate that as a celebrity, his worst moment was caught on camera and beamed around the world. He, despite the fact that he is the sole provider for his entire family. He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders. His mother is, struggling with addiction, and he's trying to deal with her. And his dad said that he went to visit him in jail. As soon as he walked through that door, he couldn't do anything but cry, which was so sad to see my baby boy on the other side of that glass. I mean, it's hard.
He asked people not to judge somebody by the worst moment in their life, and said, "There's no way for us to know right now if Lil Nas was under the influence of drugs at this time of the event. Anybody that has kids, you hear about things like this all the time." He said, "Forget he's a 26-year-old. It's not unusual for something like this to happen, particularly when you have the pressure of being recognized internationally like him." Yeah.
I've never heard his songs. I'm not a fan, but as a human being and as a fellow artist and as somebody who struggled a lot with, being young and coming out or being outed, I should say, and going through all that kind of stuff. I mean, and you get the weight of the world on your shoulders, and I don't know.
I think he survived pretty well, all things considered. He was living with his parents in a closet that they converted put a bed in a closet, so he had a place to sleep when this all got his all notoriety, and I think his interviews and from what I've seen of him, he is pretty well. He had his head pretty well on his shoulders, realizing what was really going on and kind of having a good perspective of things. So I hope he does well. I hope he comes up with a new song.
Do you want to hear? Speaking of songs, do you want to hear something crazy? I didn't know this about him. Maybe you knew this. So he grew up in Atlanta, and then until he was 10, his dad took him out and brought him here. He paid $20 in 2018. He paid $20 for some time in an Atlanta recording studio in December 2018, and then $30 he paid to download a beat. Then he created that Old Town Road. The
Yeah.
song, hip hop infused country music track, went viral on social media before storming the charts. I mean, that's crazy.
Well, and what really got the notoriety is when he it hit the country charts because it sounds very country, and it was
Yeah.
up there, and the country western
It spent
culture
19
said he's not country. He shouldn't be on that chart.
I know.
There was a lot of protests.
19 consecutive weeks on the Billboard Top 100.
It
A
was,
rec yeah.
and then he did he performed it with Billy Ray Cyrus, I believe. Together they did a says Billy Ray. Well, it's country, and I'm going to sing it with him. So they did, which I thought was really cool. But,
Oh, and here's something else. And after he came out on Twitter, right?
yeah.
And his father told him, "No matter what, you're my child. I will always love you, no matter what your sexual preference is," which I thought was very sweet.
Oh,
Yeah, it was very sweet.
yeah.
Just
That's
yeah. But the rest of that sentence was just as long as you keep supporting me. No.
I was
No.
going to say something tacky like that, but I let you say it.
I beat you to I beat you to it. No, I am telling you, I'm sure his dad loves him.
I think just like the Jackson family.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it. I mean, I'm looking at some of these pictures, and his dad looks. I mean, he's really looks like he's very quite proud of them. There's lots of pictures of them together, and I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he really did a remarkable thing. I love when he showed up at the Met in some outrageous
Oh yeah.
outrageous outfits. And he's done it 2 or 3 years now. So yeah. So what's your family? You're not together with family on this lovely weekend?
Well, no, it's funny you should ask. I was just talking to my sister, and there's a possibility of going down to enjoy some barbecue in Long Beach with my sister and all of her lesbian friends. She lives in a lesbian community and lesbian.
I keep forgetting how diverse your family is.
Oh, two out of three of us.
Yeah, two
out of three. Yeah. What are the odds? My parents should have went to Vegas with those kind of odds. I do have a younger straight sister, and we never chastised her. We never made fun of her when she brought her boyfriend to home to introduce. We always made her feel totally welcome and a part of. I know. There was no shame in our family.
Do you have any desire to go see The Wizard of Oz in Vegas, baby?
I am. God, I'm so funny. It's so funny you brought that up. I'm a little obsessed with it because they're showing a bunch of people on TikTok are like, people in there are recording it, of course, and putting it on TikTok. Which I'm sure if I'm sitting next to that person, I'm annoyed as heck. But I find it kind of fascinating what they did. Have you seen any clips of it?
Yes, I think Vegas is going through a real stagnant time right now. They're tanking. This one thing could save them. I think it's that profound. The Sphere, which is entertainment, could save all of what's happening. Is all these hotels that used to give everything away decided. You know what I think? It's the MBAers got in there and they think about quarterly profits and they don't understand the culture of the casinos. And you had to create this place where everyone feels welcome, and it's not your station in life. It's you abandon everything in life and you come there and feel free and do what you want to do. And of course, gambling is a big part of it. But I think that the MBAers that got in there say, well, your average daily rate's not high. Your food cost is out of line. You're giving too many things away. You need to do this. And so all the rates have gone up.
I know. It's crazy. Food, rooms, everything. But their occupancy is way down. Well, tourism in the U.S. is down because no one wants to come here.
Right.
But Vegas is taking a hit for sure. I know it's funny because you see some of these people on TikTok and on some of these other social media platforms that are saying it's a ghost town. I don't know that it's a ghost town, but it is definitely like I'm hearing like 15 to 20% occupancy down from last year, which in summer that equates to a lot of money.
Oh yeah, billions.
Especially when you have people that are throwing money in the slot machines.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's always been the adult playground has kind of been their thing. And yeah.
I used to love Vegas back in the day. You can get a breakfast super, super cheap. You would sit there at a machine. They'd bring you drinks for free. I mean, Remember the good? I mean, I loved Vegas back then. You know, and drinks were super.
I lived in Reno, and I was the night manager for a hotel near a homeless shelter, a religious homeless shelter, and every once in a while one of them would wander in the hotel because it would be cold and they'd try to warm up or whatever.
Right.
And so I'd give them 85 cents because they could go across to the Golden Nugget and get a hot dog and a cup of coffee for 85 cents. And
wow.
I don't know. I keep thinking about how many times I gave that 85 cents. I should have got certificates and given them out because I don't know that they all went there, but some of them did. But I remember when I was at Hyatt Lake Tahoe, and it was owned by the Teamster Pension Fund at that point, which was very in the late 80s and actually late 70s. And I was the night hotel manager, and the junkets they would bring in and just give them everything. Everything was free, you know, and anyone who came up was playing the slot machines. The servers were there, all really nice servers, mostly females and mostly very attractive. And you got free drinks all night long just to play the nickel machines, you know. And then I would go to work for about a year, and every time I drive by the Cal Neva, they always had this sign up that say penny slots in the bar or in the lounge. Yeah, penny slots in the lounge. And I kept thinking, well, Penny, she's been there a long time.
How long has Penny been there?
See, how long's Penny been in the lounge? It never occurred to me.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Anyway, so yeah, Las Vegas, I think the reason I go on about it is because I got 30 years hotel experience, and I know the hotel mentality and hotel mentality and that in that industry, the hospitality industry, whether it's food or beverage or whatever. And, you know, I remember these buffets, just all you could eat buffets for $6.95, you know, and it was great food, you know. But those days,
yeah.
So I know it's like Hyatt's policy was for many years is that they could lose money on the food. Did you know that?
Oh yeah. I'm sure. It's the alcohol sales that keep you afloat.
The alcohol sales, but the hotel, the room revenue. So if you go there and you have a nice hotel, but you have a horrible overpriced dining experience, you're not going to stay in the hotel room because you want to find a hotel that's got affordable food.
Right.
So they would. I remember it was when they give serving platters for your entree. They were huge, and they put tons of fresh fruit on it and stuff. Like California is abundant, you know, with agriculture and everything. So they would just really overdo it, and it was enough to feed a family of 4. Your entree was. But that's what they did to build their occupancy, and they were successful, you know. And so I think the casinos have done a similar thing to build their loyalty to the gamblers and their hotel occupancy. They've really discounted all these other things so they can make it up, hopefully in the casino and some way with the room revenue, because, you know, it's room revenue can be very profitable. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So there you go, Eddie. We have about 5 minutes to talk about anything that's on our minds this week. What do you think? Newsom? Huh?
I love what he's doing with all the tweets and stuff like that. It's kind of calmed down a little bit because I think. Did you notice as soon as Newsom started doing that, he stopped?
No.
Did you notice he doesn't do the whole like locked caps thing? As a matter of fact, I don't know who's posting for him right now. I'm not talking about Newsom. I'm talking about the other one.
Yeah, I did see he did.
Yeah, he made some changes, and then the last thing he put out was not him. It was like you look at it and you know it's not really him because there's full sentences and it's coherent and it's like it tracks. Everyone's just like, well, that's not him.
You know, while these parodies of that are being put out by, I think, the Newsom administration, let's just say that, Newsom is also going on every single opportunity he has to get in front of a microphone and explain in details facts. Like the Speaker of the House's own community that he represents in Louisiana.
Oh yeah, the crime rate.
It's 3 times higher.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talks about the states that are being targeted to go in. They're all blue states, and they're all blue governors, and all of the red states are the highest in the crime rates, and he's going into none of them. And so, if it were a true "let's protect America," let's do, and those numbers you can't argue with. I mean, there's no defense, but anyway, it goes on, and I find it refreshing. It's like he says, "Let's Democratic Party," which he's a part of, and I've supported in the past. They need to get off their knees and get on their feet. And
the highest crime states: Louisiana, New Mexico, Arkansas, Texas, Missouri, and Alabama.
Oh, yeah,
so top 5, top 6.
Put those on your list.
Yeah,
go there first.
Yeah, go take care of those. And by the way, Mr. Speaker, Louisiana is your state.
Yeah, and it is. What's its crime rate? Can you see that?
Louisiana. I don't see the rate. Hang on, let's see if I can pull it up. It's up there.
Yeah. So if there were any truth to what he was trying to do, there would be a different response. But
let's see. Louisiana's violent crime rate is significantly higher than the national average, with an approximate rate of 548 offenses per 100,000 people. The state is considered one of the most dangerous in the U.S., experiencing a high murder rate, with Baton Rouge having a rate of approximately 36 per 100,000 people.
You want to know what the Speaker's response was? Because I watched an interview, and
I know he said Gavin Newsom should mind his own business and mind his own state.
Well, no, he said, "Well, I understand Gavin Newsom. He's a name dropper. He just used my name."
Oh,
so that was he used his name. Well, yeah, you represent the worst crime in the nation, so he used your name. Is he trying to win points with name dropping? I don't think so, but that's what he thinks. That's what he actually said in the interview. I saw the interview.
Right.
That's what he said. And I'm thinking, and then, they they don't answer the question. There's nothing to drill back to what are we going to do about it, or what's being done, or do we have some way to step into this and make it right? But we don't anyway. I don't want to end on a bad note. It's a beautiful day. It's a beach day here in Laguna Beach. It's Labor Day. We should be celebrating labor and the working people of America. And yeah.
And you really can't swing in and take a look at the camera on the Rainbow Lifeguard Tower?
No. It's city. I don't. Well, I would be surprised if you could, but it's city.
It feels like you should be able to, but it doesn't matter because this is a radio show, Craig, and that's a visual thing, and we can't be doing that. No one's gonna. It'll be just you and me going, "Ooh, who's that over there in that Speedo?
Who's that?
What was he thinking wearing that Speedo?"
Oh my.
I can say with great pride. I mean, there was a time in my life when I probably could have rocked a Speedo, and I chose not to.
Well, as they say in Europe, anyone who wears a Speedo everyone wears a Speedo.
Right.
In the U.S., you wear a Speedo, everyone thinks you're gay.
Well, it's a privilege, it's a privilege to wear one in the U.S. Anyone can do it in Europe.
There's some people in Europe that they should get the longboard shorts. That's all I get.
Right.
Anyway,
I like longboard shorts.
Me too. I'm totally.
I think they're hotter.
Mo hot.
I think they're more hot. I really do.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to do my half hour.
Oh, you're gonna get in trouble. Don't get us fired. Don't get us fired.
Really?
Right?
So I hope we brought a few laughs and some frivolity across the airwaves.
I hope everyone has a great Memorial Day weekend or Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend. Gosh, I get them confused. I hope everyone has a great Labor Day weekend and enjoys each other's company and does and rests because we all work hard.
Well, and they put away their white shoes. You know.
Oh, no white after Labor Day. That's right. Now, do you are you a rule follower with that?
No, I don't break all the rules.
I don't. I used to because like I had very gay friends who would like smack me down if they saw me wearing white after Labor Day. So I got a little gun shy. So I don't, but I know people that do. They're not afraid.
Oh my, how liberating. Anyway, I want to thank all our listeners for tuning in yet again today for another version of Rainbow Radio. We'll be back next week. Hopefully Eddie has time with his busy schedule to bless us with his presence once again.
I know love to.
You're always have to be flexible. I love it when you call in from far off places too. So
I know I gotta get on another cruise somewhere. Remember that?
Yeah, that would be fun. Puerto Vallarta, I don't know. South of France would be nice next time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, everyone get out there, enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day here in Laguna Beach, and we're going to end with a song that is inspirational. It's about it's Aretha Franklin, baby, and it's I say a little prayer, which we all maybe need with what's going on these days. And
oh yeah,
yeah. So anyway, enjoy your day. Thank you.
You too,
Eddie. Love you very much.
Love you. Bye.
Bye bye.